Hello, everyone. I'm Sheila.
And I'm Valerie. And we are
Today's Litches.
And for those of you who don't know, that's Lady Bitches, right?
Lady Bitches, because we're pretty good at it.
Apparently. We won't say. I can't. We had a big blooper, and for those of you who might have been sitting in queue waiting, you saw it.
Yes,
and
did.
Hopefully nobody else does.
No one else does. Oh, there we go.
Are you on?
All
right, she's on.
There
So welcome to Sandwich Generation. This is our very own talk show, and we come at it from a generational perspective.
It's ours. Children and parents above
and children, grandchildren below. We're just going over some of our not so wonderful moments on Grandkids Corner. One of them, we were counting to the number 3, and Sheila flipped off the children by accident. I mean, she was counting.
Sorry.
And
not thinking.
Yeah. So, anyways, those
1, 2, 3. I've never counted like that in my life. I don't know what possessed me. Anyway,
it's better than choking on your youth. I'm sorry, I can't.
First of all, new news. Let's get on with it. New news. Lonnie Vlogs.
Yes. He's on our spotlight this week.
Star.
Yeah, we're giving him 5 stars.
Absolutely.
You can't get any higher. And we will be putting his YouTube channel up here in the corner for everybody to have a look at. Go check it out, subscribe, like. And Lonnie Vlogs, he's been a huge supporter of ours and sort of came across him by accident. For those of you who know me, I'm kind of a car girl, and he does vlogs.
Right.
And most recently, you witnessed
he was doing the F-150.
Yeah.
And putting in new headlights, and they were the smoked headlights.
Yeah.
They were absolutely stunning. Changed the whole look of the vehicle. And I've also watched him, same thing, F-150, but I also have an F-150, won't lie. So, and it's an older model. So, and he was doing an older model.
Right. And he had put in a grill on.
And yeah, you had seen the grill.
Yeah.
Then also at one point in Android's stereo system, which was really kind of cool. And what I liked the most was the fact that you actually felt like you could do this. And it was so concise.
Yes, there wasn't a lot of, that's what I really enjoyed.
Not a bunch of fluffy fluff.
Yeah.
It was actually concise.
And pretty much anybody could, follow direction. It was like, if I can do it, you can do it sort of thing. And it just one of those, like we were saying, it's nice to come across something that, gives you an instruction, the before, the after, and everything that happens in between, and with a good sense that you're able to take from that. And like you said, I actually feel like I could probably do this myself.
Yeah, and he's out of, I believe it is Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
I think.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Pretty sure. Okay.
Anyways, and it just really got.
Yeah.
Really understand.
Love this guy.
Yeah,
he's great.
Right.
And so we want to do a promo. Want you to go hit him up, check him out. All you car guys, car girls out there. Before the F-150, he did a whole section on Volkswagens, right? Which I know my stepsons would absolutely love. Yeah. So, anyways, check them out. Send them love, and we really want to support and give back.
That's right. Absolutely. Because and you're going to put all that information right up here, right?
I'll put it all up here. I might even run a short a video or a clip of what he's about up there. And I think I found Lonnie Vlogs on YouTube. No, TikTok. Then YouTube.
No, I see. Now me, it was YouTube.
Maybe it was.
YouTube. I don't remember. And maybe because I didn't look.
No, and that's true.
And maybe that's what I need.
And maybe I'm confused because that happens when we get older. A lot.
And now the fun of it all.
The fun. Yeah, the fun. So let's get down to it and let's start talking about our subject.
Hot topic.
A hot topic. Well, divorce and separation is always a hot topic.
But let's put children in there.
Well, then it becomes boiling hot when you add children in the mix. So
it doesn't need to, but for some reason it does.
Well, and I think there's we decided to focus on children and divorce in this segment.
Because we've been talking about other things.
We tried to do a segment on children, which included like financial and all of this. And
that's just
it's too much. We ended up spending more time talking about the federal child support guidelines than actually talking about children and divorce and separation
and their effects.
The effects: custody, access, parenting, long-term, short-term.
Children.
Yes, children. And I think we got into it briefly. You can, as we spoke before, you can speak to being a child of divorce.
Right. And I can honestly say I can't speak to like a child. I would be the teen child of divorce.
Well, and there's a lot of difference of opinions when it comes to how divorce affects children and ages and stages. And I've always been of the opinion, and I've done this for quite a while, that adult children of divorce, so you grew up in your home, that would be like you and your husband separating now. Your children have moved out.
Oh, they've already moved away.
They've moved out. They're on their own. They have children of their own. And then your parents get divorced. Right. I always say that that's extremely hard on an adult child for the simple fact they've only known one way. Right? They haven't known any. Their sense of home, that sense of belonging seems to become a little fuzzy, right? And it's no different. You look at when your parents remarry, right? All of a sudden, like I think of my husband, when he would go home, right? He would think nothing of opening up the fridge and helping himself to a cup of tea or whatever, pulling out his mother's cookies.
But not in somebody else's home.
But had his parents been separated and remarried, he wouldn't feel comfortable in either home.
And that's a funny situation because I gotta be downright honest. So when I was 13 and my parents divorced, and when my father did meet someone else, and that I was still more comfortable in my home with my mom. And it wasn't that the other mother I had did anything to make me feel unwelcome.
No, it's not.
She wouldn't have had to do anything.
No, it's not.
It's just your home was where your comfort zone is, so that's where you're.
Well, it was your primary residence. Right. And I guess that's what I'm getting. To is that when you're an adult child and this happens, that sense of home, the sense of belonging of walking into your mom and dad's house and helping yourself to the cookies that are in the jar or whatever, doesn't exist. And particularly when your parents get remarried or in another relationship, that home, their home is their home. It's not your home anymore. Right. And I guess that's how I was speaking to it.
Yeah. Because my husband's parents were together. And now he felt very comfortable in his mother and father's home.
Right.
But when his father remarried after the death of his mother,
yes,
it was very awkward.
Well, no,
at first,
and it's kind of the same.
It's
kind of the same thing.
Right.
And I think what we're getting down to is that, and I've said it over and over again, is that the least impact you can have on a child's life is probably better. And we had talked about, remaining in the same house.
Yeah.
A lot of times that is not financially possible, but in a majority of times it is.
I've heard of people doing that, but then I'm like, if you're living in the same house,
No, I mean, no. I didn't mean that. I mean, keeping the children in the same house.
Because I'm thinking,
no, I'm not.
I thought you were advocating for to do divorce people
there
to live
are
in the same home for the child's
circumstances.
sake.
No. Listen, there are circumstances where that does happen.
And it does work.
And then circumstances are usually financial,
right?
In which you will have one parent living upstairs, one parent living downstairs or something financially, even though they are technically separated or divorcing or what have you. That does happen.
Yeah.
It works if the parents make it work.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
I guess so.
Really, this comes down to parenting.
Right.
Unfortunately, I've seen all of it. Some people think of children as belongings
or possessions.
That's
my kid.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, but takes two.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not,
and
it takes two.
Exactly. And no matter how you feel about the other parent, transferring that down to the child is only going to cause...
It's detrimental to the child, Valerie.
Well, it is.
There's just no other way of putting it. There's no nice way of putting it.
There isn't. So I guess one of the things that we say is, hey, you know what? When you say, stop that, you're just like your father.
Or don't do that, you're just like your mother.
Right. Or stop it, it reminds me of your mother. You're basically telling your child that you don't like that part of them.
Yeah, that's a negative.
And it's totally negative, right?
You know, if you were looking at that same child and saying something like, oh my God, your eyes so remind me of your mother, I love them. That's a different statement. See?
No, it is a different statement,
I love
but that's
about
not...
you, but I also love that about your mother.
Right, but the thing is, I'm not saying you have to go out of your way to find nice things to say about the other person.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you don't have something nice to say, the old saying goes, then maybe you shouldn't say anything at all.
Right. Don't take your... So yes, I guess what I'm getting down to, and there's a whole thing. Like sometimes, and it's very common now, where you'll hear of what we call split custody.
Yes.
Or split parenting.
Yeah.
And that's on a 50-50 basis. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but it could be a week on, week off, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, whatever works for the family. And I always kind of use this scenario where, okay, here's mom's house, here's dad's house. What's the only thing that goes back and forth?
Yeah.
The children.
Yeah.
Right. Nothing else, just the children. And the thing is that kids are amazing. They can pretty much adapt to anything. If you make it their norm, it becomes their norm.
Yeah.
Right. For instance, children that are being raised in a same-sex family, right? Children that are raised...
Right. Divorce is often equated to a death of a partner. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Children that are raised in a same-sex family, they don't know any different, right? That is their norm. It only becomes abnormal when somebody else points it out to them.
Right.
Right. What I'm saying is the same thing. There are healthy ways to go through separation and divorce, but dragging your children in the middle of your differences with the other party,
that's not a healthy way.
It's not a healthy way, and your children will suffer significantly.
Yes.
Significantly. And the thing is that I've been on many aspects of this.
Right.
And there are some people that, have their aha moments, like when they're going through parenting after separation, which is a mandatory course, when getting a divorce in Canada.
They learn.
Parent information program, parenting after separation, it's mandatory.
But they're the ones who want to learn too.
But here's the thing, in facilitating that, you have a group of people, and you will have light bulbs going off left, right, and center, and people asking questions and everything. And they understand, oh, I can't believe I did that. I'm going to have to stop doing that. Well, that's great. That's education. That is moving forward and learning, right? But then you'll always get the person that no matter what happens, it's always the other person's fault.
Right.
accept no accountability for their own actions.
No.
Right? They're so embroiled in the, hurt, anger, and resentment that
goes with divorce,
right,
often,
and
or
that
separation.
the fight is more important
than anything else.
Right? And I guess in this segment, we really wanted to focus on children and how they're affected.
Do's and don'ts and have some.
Yeah, like for instance, if you ever feel inclined to take your children on a recon
or reconnaissance mission,
yeah,
to go see if you have a spouse that's doing
cheating
something wrong
or doing something,
gambling, drinking, whatever it may
be. Cheating.
Just don't do it.
Don't do it. Get a sitter. Do it on your own if you feel, you have to do it, but don't drag your children on these missions of trying to find your significant other in compromising positions, right? Obviously, there's issues with the relationship, and involving your children in them is not acceptable.
And you're right. The idea that you got to win at all costs,
there's no winners.
There's never a winner, especially in a divorce or separation. There can't be a winner.
Because
everybody's losing something. Maybe, and for some people, they're even losing, their own belief in themselves or whatever. Everybody's losing.
If you approach family law like a lawsuit, right, where somebody must pay, right? I'm going to warn and let everybody know there are no winners in separation and divorce.
No, not financially or any other way. Like there said, we're not going to talk about money, but
I think we need to put a disclaimer out there too. We're talking about average separation divorce. We're not talking situations where there is abuse and
neglect
and other issues
going on
that require more intervention.
And we will post the 1-800 number.
Yes, you don't have the last time we read it out, but we will post it up when I edit the video, just to let you know. But I think the big thing is that we have a tendency to label everything, number one, and to pass judgment is another thing that we tend to do. And the sad part is there are no winners in separation and divorce, and I would say the true losers are the children.
Usually.
Right, usually. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that.
No, there's a lot of people who do it successfully.
Absolutely.
And those people are out there. Like I had a look, Valerie, recently, and some of these people who have done this successfully are out there. They're mentors now.
Yes.
And people you can look up to and check out and see how they've done that.
Well, I remember I had a couple come through mediation, and I remember they were a year in separation counseling before they began the process of physically separating.
Right.
Because they had three children, sorry. And I really admire that.
Well, I do too. Anybody who's willing.
Those are huge examples. When you're in the court system, when you work within the court system, you usually only see the worst of the worst, right?
Right.
Because they can't get along. They need somebody else to make their decisions for them. Here's the thing. You guys are the parents. You know better than anybody else. Don't allow your children to manipulate the situation so there are no consequences to their action.
Right.
Don't allow your children to manipulate the parents so that they're arguing and the child has no consequences to their actions.
Right. And a lot of it, like I was saying, we had talked about in the last show too, is, I was 13, so I was really learning to master manipulation and learning how it all worked.
We all did.
And one of the things I've always said is, when you're 13 and you have the ability to manipulate situations in order to further your own freedoms per se, you do, and I think that it is in some ways almost neglectful of parents not to see it. Not to know that it is there, not to discuss it before your divorce. Like that's something they need to discuss beforehand. That, you know what, I've got kids who are going to use this opportunity to maybe gain a little extra freedom.
Well, and that's where parents need to get on the
because
same.
I found it very easy to disappear.
Well, you can, and that's what. Well, also too, parents when they are separating, they're going through their own emotional trauma at that time. So their focus may not necessarily be the children. Right. But the reality is that the children are a product of both parents, right? You can never ask children to choose.
No.
It is unfair to put them in that situation.
I don't think people could.
Well, see, some parents feel the necessity to have the child on their side,
Yeah.
to believe in them because
Right.
they feel they're the better party because, oh, they didn't cheat or they didn't do this, right? So they feel that they need their children to side with them.
Right.
And that is probably the hugest mistake that ever can be made. Children inherently love both parents.
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether you like it.
Right.
The truth is they love both their parents very much.
Right.
And no one parent's any better than the other.
Right. And, you know,
In
the
their
constant barrage of, you know, your mother's this, your father's that, you know.
That's never good.
It's not good for children because they internalize it. And you know what? They realize your disdain, your hate, your dislike for the other party, right?
Well, they're more than aware.
They're more than aware of it, and they internalize it. Well, you know, they must not like me.
Yeah. Well, that's like we were saying, that whole, you know, don't do that, you're like your dad, or don't do that, you're like your mom, or don't, you know, for some people I actually had a friend of mine many years ago that had said to me something about her father or something like that, had said to her, don't wear your hair like that. It reminds me of your mom.
Right.
Now imagine.
So, and that's what I try to tell all parents, that you really have to be careful of your language. You're inherently, when you're putting these things into the child's head, you're basically telling your child you don't like that part of them. Because as children, you know, I'm a product of both of my parents, and, you know,
like it or not, mom and dad.
Yeah, that's it. And, you know, I may have tendencies that lean more towards one parent than the other, but in actuality, I have a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know,
a whole lot of you.
Exactly. Putting children through the mess of your father's an idiot, your mother, oh yeah, here's one. Bring an 11-year-old girl in to sit in an office in the courthouse, explain and yelling at her to tell me how much of a whore her mother was. Like, are you kidding me? But these are the types of things that create a lot of emotional trauma on children.
Yeah.
That they don't have to go through.
And parents need to know that.
You know, it's no different.
And why be so sanctimonious anyway? I mean, let's face it. If you married the person,
you obviously thought enough of them to get married and have children.
Right.
Obviously.
And if you've had children and been with them for a long period of time,
exactly,
then I would suggest that you also had a decent relationship for a long period of time.
Right. And I guess, and that's one of the exercises I always do. I always ask parents, you know, to go back, because nowadays most people having children, their spouses or significant others are in the delivery room.
Yeah.
Right. So I always ask them to go back to that moment and remember the first time they held that child. I'm pretty sure there was only love in the room. Yeah. For the child, for each other, and for the creation and everything else that it is. And if you can bring people, if you can remember that,
even for just that moment,
and remind yourself of that when you're dealing with your child.
Yeah.
They don't need to know
And that's another thing. Remember we had talked about?
Yeah.
Really? Children don't need to know why you're getting a divorce other than that you can no longer be together.
Right. And
unless and every answer should be age appropriate.
No. Here's one for you. I have one that works at 2 years old and works at 15. Okay.
No manual or guide.
No, there is no manual or guide. There is now. There's more people that have gone.
When divorce was just becoming
right.
Something.
But before we move on, I just want to say this one statement that you can use whether a child is 2 years old or whether a child is 15. Doesn't matter. All you need to know is your father and I love you very much, and we are going to make sure you're okay.
Right.
Or all you need to know is your mother and I love you very much, and we're going to make sure you're okay. They don't need to know who cheated on who spent whose money,
who's got the gambling problem,
who's the alcoholic,
who's the no good jerk
and trust me, if there are addictions and issues that are involved, that's already pretty much open book to the family. Already knows about they're already aware.
Right.
But the reality is, and I think that is very important, is that adult issues are for adults, not for children, not for 15-year-olds, not for 16-year-olds, not for 12-year-olds,
not even for an 18-year-old, Valerie. And I say that because, and I say this because people like to believe that it's okay to say negative, bad things about somebody who's left their home. So, and it's not okay. Whether that, if you're visiting and our parents were divorcing at 80 years old.
Right.
Okay. It's still not okay then.
No.
So it really doesn't matter the age, but especially not under age 18.
And if your main objective in divorce and separation is for your children to hate the other party as much as you hate the other party,
it's not going to happen. It may even backfire.
It's going to be, yes, and it could very well backfire.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's not a game. We're dealing with little humans, right? That, for all intents purposes, they didn't ask for the divorce or separation. Yeah. So I always say, be adults about it.
Yeah.
Put on
your big boy pants. I encourage you to use love as your guide.
Yes.
Whether it's...
And we say put the children first.
Yeah.
Right. Though I say that with a little bit of reluctancy because
me too.
Perception's an amazing thing. People will go out of their way to convince themselves that they're acting in the best interest of the child. And that could be by keeping the child from the other party or whatever it is.
I've heard people say stuff like, oh, well, he didn't pay his child support, so he should never be able to see his kids.
Okay, two different baskets, people.
That doesn't have anything to do with it.
And particularly, and this will be our last point on this, because
then
we'll get into support.
Yeah.
So just so that you know, custody and access and child support are in different boxes and for a reason. And the reason is a parent can be ordered to pay child support, but also ordered not to have contact with that child. Could be abuse issues or addictions issues or whatever. But vice versa, a person who could be disabled or whatever would be ordered maybe not to pay child support because they don't have the income to pay child support, let's just say, but they still deserve to have a relationship with their child or children. So that's why they keep them in separate boxes.
Okay, now we have to end.
So we look forward to continuing this next week. We will get more into the monetary side of divorce and separation.
Yeah.
So again, try to put your little ones first.
Yeah, and that would be my word of wisdom too.
Exactly.
Kids are just little angels, so don't forget. And
Okay, so what's
new?
No, what's up, Litches?
Oh.
All right. So first of all, we decided, because you have a favorite one, I kind of have a favorite one. So we decided I'm on this kick about finding creams that work,
Yeah.
right? So I came across this a year or two ago, and it's Neutrogena Hydro Boost. And if you live in a dry climate, this is amazing. Throw it on your hands, your face, whatever. It's not your night cream or eye cream or anything, but it really moisturizes your skin. So I highly recommend this Neutrogena Hydro Boost. Now, what's yours?
Next, Retinol 24.
Aha.
Olay. Regenerist.
Mine is the same.
Mine's the night serum.
Mine is night eye cream.
Okay.
Retinol eye cream.
I've tried it because they swear that in 24 hours you'll notice a difference. And in all honesty, I noticed a difference. I even have a picture.
I have to admit, I haven't really, but I'm not putting it on at night.
You might try putting it on at night.
No, I usually put it on in the morning.
No. Sometimes it happens. You follow directions. But now there's one more thing. One more thing.
Okay.
And it is, we both agreed.
Yes.
Our fave.
Yeah.
When it comes to cleaning. And it's right over here. And I don't mean cleaning your house.
Oh, you forgot to put it on.
I did. Yeah. It is, believe it or not, for cleaning your dishes. It's quick. I like it. I spray.
Oh, I love it.
And so we're giving it a plug.
Yeah,
because we actually love it.
We love it to the point where I think my
Dawn Ultra Platinum Power Wash, and you spray
Ultra Platinum Power Wash, and I just spray the pan.
Yeah.
And throw it in there, walk away, come back 10-15 minutes later, and Anyway, love this stuff.
Love it.
So yeah, for sure. We decided we want to share what we believe, in our opinion, actually works. Because we spend a lot of money on cleaning products, creams,
throughout a lifetime. Everybody does.
Right. And I hate you try something and it doesn't do what it says it's supposed to do. Right.
Yeah. And so when we find ones that don't do what they say they're going to do, we're going to do that too. We'll let you know. Yeah.
We should.
I think we'll let you know.
Yeah.
That, hey, that didn't work.
Yeah.
There's a couple. There
are a few things I can think of too that I've wasted a whole bunch of money on that didn't do squat. So anyway, that's it for today's show, and we will see you next week. And I hope we gave you something to chew on. Bye, guys.
Bye.
See you next week.